welcome to Uptown TV Podcast. For those of you who are wondering what Uptown TV is, it's basically a platform where we can share our ideas on basically anything like lifestyle, music and arts, adulting, relationships, and many more. And of course, I'm here with my co host, Carla. Hi, Carla.
Hi, Wenny, and hello to the rest of the community as well. Welcome to Uptown TV. And for this episode, we will be discussing the pros and cons of having a business and being employed. So
Naku.
I know that many of you have your own preference, while others are still deciding which to pursue. So in this episode, we hope to provide some inputs as we talk about both.
Yes, Carla. And, I think this is also a chance for us to share our, ideas and experiences and opinions since we're both in the opposite sides.
Yes.
So, you're
I think,
employed in a
yeah.
very big company
Mhm.
while ako naman, I run my own business. So I think this is going to be,
Yeah.
a very fun discussion.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun too. I totally agree. And also, both of us have experienced both. So both we have opinions about both. Basically, you were employed also for a time while I also had my business a few years back. So, pero we both decided on the opposing or other side of each. So, Wenny, let's start by giving a background on our journey. So, what were your few jobs as an employee and how did you start with your business?
Okay, I'm very excited to share, my side and basically my journey,
Yeah.
how I got into business.
Mhm.
So, well, as you are aware, we are
Mhm.
classmates in mass
Yes.
communications, no? But after we graduated, my first job was in a radio broadcasting network. And then in an advertising agency. And then again, I had my, siguro I would say na I got my real work experience talaga no, in a BPO industry. So I've been there for quite some time. And the reason why I shifted and, started my own company was because of my husband, really.
Mm, mm-mm.
So back in the time, what happened was yung husband ko, si RP, he just got out of the employment
Mhm.
and he started his company and for some time there kasi it was a very successful one.
Mhm.
So it was a success. Eh, ako naman kasi and I'm not secretive about what I am. Personally, I am a very competitive person. Very passionate ako and very competitive.
Mhm.
So, when I saw the success of my husband, sabi ko, naku, I cannot just sit here. I can't just be in the employment forever. Sabi ko, I would siguro start somewhere in business. So, ako naman kasi I'm very good in sales. And
Yes. Mm-mm.
this isn't a secret. In fact, in my podcast, Your Beautypreneur Journey with Wenny, I also talked about how I got into business. And one of the points na I said there was, I'm very good in sales. So, simula bata pa ako, nagbebenta-benta na ako eh. Up until college, remember, Carla? If you remember,
Yes.
binentahan kita ng pichi-pichi.
Tama, masarap yun yung pichi-pichi mo Sarap
Yeah,
yun.
kami yung gumawa noon. Anyways, so, back in the days, I'm already into sales per
Mhm.
se. But, syempre, iba yung business eh. Di ba? Iba yung
Yes.
pagbebenta-benta lang, more of a hobby
Mm-mm.
than into business and actual
Mhm.
business na more than a hobby.
Mhm.
So, nung inisip ko na, sige nga, magnegosyo nga ako and I'll take it from there.
Mhm.
So, I was thinking of, during that time, no, inisip ko what type of business na kailangan ko i-venture. Sabi ko, it has to be something na I am passionate about. Kasi,
Yes.
I don't believe na, you will be successful. I may be wrong, but this is just, my opinion na if you get into business, it's better na the business that you are venturing is something that you are passionate about. Kasi that way, for you, it's not going to be work. For you, it's just going to be play.
Yes. Mm-mm.
Natutuwa ka sa ginagawa mo eh. And you are
Mm-mm.
self-motivated because you're
Mm-mm.
happy doing what you do. So sabi
Yes.
ko, ano ba ang something na passionate ako? And so, sabi ko, "Oo nga naman, babae ako and I spend time pagdating sa nails. We always want our nails done.
Yes.
Kumbaga sa atin, naku, pag kumakati na siya para sa atin, it's already a necessity. It's not a
Mm-mm.
luxury
True.
anymore. But although in other people, they may think of it as a luxury, but for some kasi, it's really a necessity. So
Mm-hmm.
sabi ko, sige nga, I'll start with the aesthetics. I'll start with yung mga spa, yung pagpapaganda.
Mm-hmm.
And yun, so I started, and there are bumps on the road along the way, but just like what I keep telling, my students in my academy, I always tell them na, and this works in life, of course, 'di ba? Yung life skills na kung
Mm-hmm.
ikaw bumagsak ka man, you take it as, a lesson, and make sure na that won't happen again.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, on my entrepreneurial journey, it's not always successful.
Mm-hmm.
So, I wouldn't say na pag start ko kaagad, successful agad ako. Wala namang perfect na, alam mo yun, business journey. So, just like everyone else that's been in the business, I too learned a lot along the way. But to sum it all, no, in general, I'm pretty much happy dito sa business, and I find it fulfilling in my end, knowing na I was able to help
Yan na
people
nga
who
yung gusto
also
siya
want to be
Toby.
successful in their own field. Yun. So that's how I got
Bilisan
into
niyo
this
na.
business, into
Sasalita na ako.
business rather.
Yes, tama. Actually, di nga naalala ko yon that you were
No.
you were selling. Yun nga, masarap talaga yung peachy-peachy ni Wenny. Masarap. Oo. Pero, naalala mo din, we were in college, we were actually together when we were into direct selling, 'di ba?
Yes!
Naalala mo?
Imagine, nag-start pa tayo ng
Oo,
ganon.
oo.
Ang tagal na pala nun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Alam mo naman kasi ako, I started working early on, 'di ba? Actually, nung college pa lang nga, I was already working as a freelancer.
Mhm.
Then sa call center, 'di ba? If you remember,
Yes.
when we were in graduating tayo noon eh.
College. Oo.
I was already a working student that time. So, and then I also had some experience sa isang non-profit organization. This was after na nung graduate
Ah,
tayo.
talaga? I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Doon ako as PR and publications assistant, parang ganyan, sa isang non-profit. And then, eventually, nandito na ako sa work ko, sa big company.
Mhm.
So, I've been here sa San Miguel for like, I don't know, 11 years. So, medyo matagal na
Wow,
din.
congratulations, Carla.
Thank you. Oh.
Tenure
Yes,
ka na.
senior, yun. So, actually, yun. Basically, after nung aking, after natin mag-college, ang main, ang main source of income ko was employment. 'Di ba? So, for me, I also had a business then, pero, it was not something kasi na, na I can work out, especially sa situation ko. So, talagang employment talaga yung naging main source of income ko. Ayun. So,
Yeah, actually, I remember,
mm
um, dami nating pinagsamahan, ano?
oo.
We, nor, dati, we attended yung mga orientations. And aside from that,
Oo,
yun nga,
orientation.
yung
Uy, ginagabi
sa
tayo
business
dun
mo,
ah.
sa nails. Oo, I remember. I really remember.
Oo. Actually, I think that was also one of the main reasons na na-expose ako sa business din. Yon, tayong dalawa, di ba, into sales. Sa direct selling yon, di
Yes.
ba? So basically, ang orientation natin sa sales din. Eh since mga masscom nga tayo, machika tayo and everything.
Mm,
Sa atin kasi it's more natural eh, di ba? Sa personality natin na
mm,
chumika-chumika, ganyan mag-PR. So I think ang sales talaga was fit para sa personality natin. And anyway, I want to ask you, Wenny, since you decided to pursue business, what does running a business have that employment doesn't?
Okay. Very on point, Carla, no?
Mm-mm.
Debate talaga to.
Mm-mm.
Well, so that was a very good question. And for those of you listening right now na, is thinking of probably an answer, looking for answers, kung business ka ba talaga or employment, um, you may be inspired in the things that I would have to say, but also weigh your options. So for me, having a business entails hard work. That's number one. Kasi most of the people, they think na when you're in the business, you have 24/7 free time to do
Mm-hmm.
anything that you want. Actually, business is very risky. And I wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
say na when you get into business, you are almost successful 100%. No, it's not. So again, business is very risky. It entails hard work, and not just hard work, it entails your time. So, minsan pa nga naiisip ko parang ang ganda nga sa employment eh. Kasi sa employment when I was working 8-hour job, 9-hour job or OT, but at the end of the day you will not be thinking of the company as a whole, what's going to happen 5 years after, 3 years after, those kinds of challenges.
Mm-hmm.
So again, sa business, aside from hard work and time, there's the leadership skills. So you should be a leader to your people. And when you lead your people kasi, you don't have the same approach to all of the people.
Mm-hmm.
Most people kasi, they have different personalities. I'm not saying most. Lahat talaga have
Mm-hmm.
different personalities. So, when you deal with this type of person, it doesn't always mean that on the other person, ganyan din yung pag-deal mo. So, aside from the leadership skills, there's the finances. So,
Mm-hmm.
again, when you get into business, kailangan mahaba ang PC mo kasi if it doesn't work, you have to do some, reverse engineering, and those entails money. So alam mo
Yes.
yun,
Mm-hmm.
but to sum it all, to sum it up, rather, to sum it up, I would say na at the end of your entrepreneurial journey kasi, especially if it's on the successful side,
Mm-hmm.
you will just look at it 5-10 years ago, 5-10 years past, at sasabihin mo, my God, ang layo na pala ng narating ko sa dati. Alam mo
Mm-hmm.
yun, yung
Yes.
pag-grow mo as a person, as an entrepreneur, ibang-iba. You have this sense of fulfillment na I don't know if it's something na you would also feel in an employment. Siguro, I guess, to some degree, no? But I cannot compare. It's
Mm-hmm.
different. I think it's subjective din naman kasi. But, it's very different. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, I'm more fulfilled in business, and I'm very challenged, and I love challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Especially nowadays, no, with the pandemic, ang hirap ng COVID. It has
Yes.
affected all of us, not just the business side, but the employment side as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it has actually taught me a lesson. So, as an entrepreneur, dapat pala you have to be agile. Yung agility na in any type of scenario, dapat you are fast, you are very quick
Mm-hmm.
to make the right decisions, to adapt to different environments and situations. So, yeah, yun yung side ko and take ko pagdating sa business.
Yon, tama yon. Actually, very, very, true and very on point yung mga sinabi mo talaga. Iba talaga yung sense of fulfillment when it comes to having your own business. But it also has that, you have to have the grit, and the motivation din talaga na, and I think faith na,
Yes.
everything, Kasi di ba very, sa sales naman, hindi talaga, and if you have a business, ang sales mo, it would be high and then low, very unstable, 'di ba? Especially ngayon sa pandemic. So,
Mm-hmm.
kailangan mo talaga ng tatag ng loob.
Mm-mm. Leap of faith.
Yes.
Ika nga.
Mm. Tama.
Mm-mm. Eh ako naman, Carla, if I may ask, if you could share naman your story, what made you pursue employment naman? Kasi, well, I think 2 years ago, you also ventured into business. But then
Yes.
again, you
Oo.
still went back to employment. So if you
Mm.
could share and, shed some light.
Oo. Well, for me kasi, since I'm a solo parent, it's very risky for me to pursue business alone. Na yun lang yung magiging source of income ko.
Mm-hmm.
Sa situation ko kasi, I need something stable and reliable. Yung may fixed income ka or may inaasahan ka talaga twice a month.
Mm-hmm.
Malaking factor kasi yon na, alam ko na merong cash flow, may stable ako na cash flow or, at least in terms of budgeting yung household expenses, at least mas mabobudget mo siya kasi alam mo na meron kang regular na dadating na 'di ba, na cash flow. And one thing also na I think made me pursue employment is yung tenure for retirement. Ayun, especially maganda naman yung company
Mm-hmm.
ko. So, maganda yung retirement benefits din ng San Miguel. So, it's also one of the factors kung bakit I choose to continue with my employment. Ayun, maganda kasi na syempre alam ko or at ease ako na meron ako matatanggap when I retire, after all of my service sa company, meron ako matatanggap. Yan. Yun. So basically yun yung main considerations ko kung bakit ko pinili ang employment. Yon. So now, let's talk about the
Wow.
negatives.
Congratulations on your tenure.
Thank you,
10
thank you.
years.
Pero just I may add lang din, being employed, actually, mahirap din siya. 'Di ba? Kasi, syempre you have your bosses. 'Di ba? You
Mm-hmm.
basically, you're not the one calling the shots. 'Di ba? So basically, you're just gonna follow whatever it is na direction ng boss nyo, ganyan. And you also have to be agile. You also have to adapt, because especially ngayon sa pandemic na that we have right now, talagang every business naman talaga, they're trying to um cope up with the pandemic. So, syempre internally, meron din silang mga directions, ganyan on how to save, 'di ba? So, aside from that, syempre may mga directions na mga kailangan gawin, ganyan. So, ikaw, as an employee, you also have to be adaptable to whatever change that the company is gonna impose. 'Di ba? So, yun. So, it also takes a lot of hard work din. Syempre, 'di ba? Pero,
Yes.
oo, siguro ang difference lang na nakita ko is, syempre, when it comes to advancement, yan. Syempre, by that, hindi mo siya makakontrol eh. 'Di ba? Because it would depend on the company and, kung ano man yung setup ng company and whatever position that you have depends on the career ladder of that position, 'di ba? So, medyo limited doon. Yon. So, yun lang yung medyo different with business. Business kasi, more or less, if you really want to go all out, you can do that, di ba? Parang ganun, but it's your call, di ba? Pero pag employed ka, basically, you are tied to whatever direction or whatever policy that your company has. So, yon. So, now let's talk
Mm-hmm.
about the negatives. Yan. What do you think are the cons in running a business?
Ooh, okay. So, cons. One of the negatives in running a business is when you don't have enough capital. For me, that's one thing.
Yes.
Kasi, especially if you're just starting, in any business, it's not always a success. So, ito parang litanya ko na to sa halos lahat ng mga pumapasok sa negosyo kasi that's really true. If you are on a tight budget
Mm-hmm.
and you don't know what's going to happen, and it's hard to always take a loan
Mm-hmm. Mhm.
pagka nag-uumpisa ng negosyo. Although yes, you can, but it's an added liability. So, di ba yung sinasabi sa accounting na mga ganyan-ganyan payables. So, one of the negatives for me is having a very tight budget if you're getting into business. Kasi it's not always a success on your first 1, 2, 3 years. Most of the time, the return of investment would be 3 to 5 years after. Then saka ka lang talaga mag-e-enjoy ng fruit of labor.
Mhm.
And that also depends on your sales, of course. So aside from the finances, I would also have to say mga challenges, unforeseen, unpredictable situations, just like this one, COVID. This is something na, it's unpredictable. Hindi naman natin to lahat inasahan eh. And biglang, boom, andito na. And so, right then and there, whether we like it or not, we have to adapt. We have to think what to do next. Otherwise, you're gonna go into and file bankruptcy. And so, it's hard kasi it's volatile yung environment ng entrepreneurship ng business is not always the same. So you have to really understand what's going to happen next. You should have to do market research. You should always do research and development to see what's going to come next, what trends to come in the near future para ikaw ready ka na. And I think those are the reasons why any big businesses always have R&D, and they really spend millions just for research and development.
Mhm.
No, it's because we need to really foresee things as it is, so that when the time comes na that happens, you are ready. Yun. So, there may be others, but for now, ito yung mga nasa isip ko right now at this very moment.
Yun. Tama yun.
Ikaw naman, Carla, I'm pretty sure na yung mga nakikinig right now who are also into employment, they are also excited to hear, the negative side of employment. So, can you please share yung cons ng employment?
Well, actually, yun na-mention ko kanina was about the career ladder. No? So, medyo limited lang yung advancement. Depende
Mm-hmm.
pa sa depende pa sa company and kung ano man yung position mo if it has a ladder, di ba? But one thing also that I find na medyo negative is yung tali ka sa oras. If it's an 8 to 5 job, you have to be at the office at this time. So, medyo mahirap pagdating sa um, especially if may emergency or may kailangan kang attendance sa personal life mo. So, medyo, yun lang yung part na medyo negative. No? If you have, lalo na kung malayo pa yung, kung yung workplace mo from your home, 'di ba? So, medyo, yun lang yung medyo doon. Yun lang yung medyo negative doon. So, yun.
Okay. Actually, buti sinabi mo yung working hours, Carla. Kasi sa business naman, yes, we do manage our working hours. Pero actually, it's a lot more eh. I mean, wala kasi talagang particular working hours
Mm-hmm.
ang pagnenegosyo. Sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
even when we go home, I still think of, what's going to happen next, or what do I need to do next, or
Mm-hmm.
what should I do now so that in 3 to 5 years from now, this is what's going to happen. So
Mm-hmm.
yung pagsa-strategize mo ng mga bagay-bagay, eh, it's 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, even when I'm about to sleep, I'm still thinking of my work.
Yes.
And sometimes,
Mm-mm.
when I wake up first thing in the morning, I think of my work.
Mhm.
So, I don't know if that's being workaholic or what, pero there's really no sense of time
Mhm.
pagdating sa business. So, yung
Mhm.
sinasabi nila na you own your time, yes, you own your time. Anytime na I wanna do a vacation, I definitely can. Kasi technically, I have my stuff working for me eh.
Mm-mm.
So I can really go wherever I want. But then again, dun din kasi papasok yung sense of being a leader mo. Na, at the end of the day, your people are looking up to you and they want to know what's going to happen after.
Mm-hmm.
And so every once in a while, just like, any normal business, every once in a while, we always talk about this is what's going to happen in our
Mm-hmm.
first year. So in our second year, dapat eto na ang ginagawa natin, so on and so forth. And you can only do that when you have processes in place, and when you're able to establish your business really well properly, I mean at the onset.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yun. So going back, there's no working hours. Hawak mo nga oras mo, but then again, it's hard not to also think of work eh. Kasi you need to know if your business will still run 2 years after, 3 years after. Or if you are not there, posibleng magkamali ng decision yung officer in charge mo, and
Yeah.
eventually it's just, gone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yun.
I agree. I agree talaga. Mahirap talaga pag may business ka kasi yun nga, basically, wala kang oras. Yun yung sinasabi mo. Until you sleep, and the first thing that you think of when you wake up, it's about the business. And the thing is also, it's because you know na there are people also that's dependent on your leadership. I mean, their lives and their families' lives, are dependent on your leadership. So I think it also adds a bit of a pressure also to
Mm-hmm.
really like do your job also as their leader and as their employer. Ayun.
That's true.
So how about people management? How do you go about managing your employees?
That's a good question, and I
Mhm.
guess let's start with you. Kumusta naman ang people management? Ikaw muna.
Ako muna.
Okay? Laging ako na lang, ikaw muna.
Well, actually, if you're an employee naman kasi, basically ang ka-interact ko, especially sa position ko, I interact with other departments then. I have, of course, my superiors, my colleagues, yung mga same level ko within the department, and then inter-department interaction then. So, yung nga nabanggit mo kanina na, every person has a different personality. So, it really um, also depends on your capacity to be flexible and to adapt and to know how to approach a person. Syempre, if you're speaking with someone na medyo strict, syempre kailangan um, marunong kang mag-adjust, 'di ba? Or if you have a colleague na medyo kailangan naman ng push, i-push mo naman. Parang ganon. So basically, ikaw, dapat, flexible ka din at marunong ka din talaga mag-adjust. Ayan. So, yun ang aking people management skills sa office. Ayan. So, how about you?
Nice.
Mm-mm.
Well, ako naman, how I handle my people, I make sure na, we are friends, but they understand that there's this thin line that yes, we are friends, but also I am your employer. I'm your
Mm-hmm.
boss,
Mm-hmm.
technically.
Yes.
And it is important na they don't go about regarding the boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
that they don't go over.
Yeah.
So they have to understand the limitations as well. Basically, putting them in place.
Mm-hmm.
Yun. And so, whenever I talk to, let's say, CLC,
Mm-hmm.
you have to understand the personality of your staff.
Mm-hmm.
So just like what, we talked about earlier, na iba-iba kasi ang way ng pag-handle ng mga tao.
Mm-hmm.
There are people na I remember when I was working,
Mm-hmm.
I cannot work properly when there is someone watching over me every now and then. So I'm not that type of person. So instead na ako ma-develop yung skill ko to the potential, to my potential, lumalabas na bumabagsak tuloy ako sa mga metrics. Kasi laging may nakabantay sa'yo
Oo,
eh. And you know, there
oo.
are people that's like that. And I
Yeah.
can't blame them. But
Mm-mm.
there are also some na pag laging tinututukan, mas gumagaling yung performance.
Mm-mm.
So
Mm-mm.
I guess the first thing as a leader, no, the first thing that you need to understand is analyze your people. How, you know, how their personalities are. So that way you'd be able to differentiate or, you know, be able to change the way you approach them.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if it's a punishment. Yun. So basically, like, you know, si Elsie. So my officer in charge, COIC ko, medyo strong yung personality niya.
Mm-hmm.
And because she has a strong personality, yung pag-deal ko sa kanya is should be different than how I deal like Rachel, yung isa kong
Yeah.
staff.
Mm-mm.
Siya naman medyo malumanay. So, alam mo
Mm-mm.
yun, kailangan, meron din siyang konting psychology. And,
Yes.
you know, because
Mm-mm.
of this, I wasn't really good in managing people
Mm-hmm.
before. And I got some of the techniques that I have right now
Mm-hmm.
from my husband, of course. Aside from
Talaga.
my
Mm-mm.
husband, he's really good in, you know, people skills in
Mm-hmm.
managing his people ever
Mm-mm.
since from employment.
Mm-mm.
And one of the things that I did actually to enhance, you know, that skill, kasi that's something that I'm very medyo hindi ako magaling sa managerial skills, managing people na skills.
Mm-mm.
And one of the things I did was I enrolled in, you know, some certification short courses
Yeah. Mm-mm.
para ma-enhance yung skill ko dyan. So I'd be able to
Mm-mm.
talk to them nang hindi na personal kasi it's hard. If you talk to your staff and then nape-personal mo, minsan it's not healthy eh.
Yeah.
It's not healthy. It's very stressful. And it
Mm-mm.
will end up na you're gonna part ways after.
Mm-mm.
So instead of having a healthy relationship with your people, them working for you and them very happy to work for you, those are two
Mm-hmm.
different things. Yung tipong very loyal sila sa'yo, not because pinapasweldo mo sila, but because they are just happy to be a part of your team. And so those are things na I was able to understand um, sometime. It wasn't something na I learned when I started business. That wasn't just me before, but that's something that I learned along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Na you have to really have this, you know, strong relationship, healthy relationship with your people kasi at the end of it, they're the ones helping you grow your business. So pagka maganda yung relationship ninyo, mas maa-achieve ninyo yung mga kailangan yung i-achieve
Mm-hmm.
2, 3, 5, 10 years from now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yun.
Yes, that's true. I totally agree. Well, in the end, I think that both having a business and being employed have their pros and cons. It just basically boils down to what situation you're in. Kung ano yung pinakamas mag-work for you. And also what would be most beneficial for you and your family.
Yeah, actually I agree. And you know, the important thing is we are able to provide for our families and you know, we love what we do basically. Sabi nga, 'di ba? If you love what you do, you will not work a day in your life.
Yes, tama yan.
So the important thing is we get to practice what we love. And if not, kasi there's always a way to make things right eh, and to make things work.
Yes, that is true. So there you have it, guys. We hope you enjoyed another episode of Uptown TV. We hope that you had fun and learned a lot in this episode. Should you have any specific topics in mind that you want to talk about, please message us in our social media handles in Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Uptown TV Media. Follow us, like, and subscribe for more informative discussion.
Stay tuned for our next episode here in Uptown TV. This is Wenny.
And this is Carla saying adios, ciao, and goodbye.